Across the vast sun-drenched savannas and within the deep, humid rainforests of Africa lives a small insect. It is no bigger than a common housefly. This is the tsetse fly. It looks quite ordinary at first glance. Its body is a brownish-gray color, helping it blend in with the tree bark and dry earth. But if you look closely, you will see some special features. The tsetse fly has a long, thin tube on its head called a proboscis. This is not for sipping nectar from flowers. Instead, it is a sharp needle used for piercing the skin of animals and humans to drink their blood. When it rests, its wings fold neatly one on top of the other, like the blades of a closed pair of scissors. This unique way of folding its wings is one way to tell it apart from other flies that buzz through the African bush. This fly is not just another insect in the great tapestry of African wildlife. It plays a significant role in the ecosystem, but its importance comes with a great danger. The tsetse fly is found across a huge area of sub-Saharan Africa. It prefers to live in woodlands and along the banks of rivers, where the air is moist and there is plenty of shade. Here, it waits patiently for its next meal to walk by. Its preferred targets are often wild animals like buffalo, antelope, and warthogs. But it will also feed on cattle and, unfortunately, on people. This creature, though small, has shaped the history and development of many parts of the continent, influencing where people can live and raise their livestock. Its presence can make vast, fertile lands uninhabitable for farmers and their animals. The reason this tiny fly is so important and so feared is because of what it carries within its body. It is a vector, which is a living organism that transmits infectious pathogens between hosts. The tsetse fly is the carrier of a microscopic parasite called a trypanosome. When the fly bites an infected animal or person, it sucks up blood containing these tiny parasites. The parasites then live and multiply inside the fly. When the fly bites its next victim, it injects the parasites into their bloodstream, passing on a serious illness. This disease is known as African trypanosomiasis, or more commonly, sleeping sickness in humans and nagana in animals. The fly itself is not harmed by the parasite. It is simply the messenger of a devastating sickness. The relationship between the fly, the parasite, and its host is a complex dance of survival that has been unfolding for millions of years. The tsetse fly is not born with the parasite. It must first bite an infected host to become a carrier. This means that not every tsetse fly is dangerous, but it is impossible to know which ones are. Because of this uncertainty, the hum of its wings is a sound that brings a sense of unease to many communities. The fly's ability to transmit this disease makes it one of the most medically significant insects in the world. It is a silent killer, a small creature capable of bringing down the largest of animals and causing immense suffering to human populations across a vast portion of the African continent. When a tsetse fly carrying the trypanosome parasite bites a person, it begins a journey of illness that can be difficult to detect at first. The initial stage of sleeping sickness often starts with symptoms that can be mistaken for other, less serious conditions. A person might experience fevers that come and go, severe headaches, a feeling of extreme tiredness, and aching muscles and joints. A key sign can be a large red sore, called a chancre, that develops at the site of the fly bite. Swollen lymph nodes, especially on the back of the neck, are also very common. During this phase, the parasites are multiplying in the person's blood and lymphatic system. If the disease is not diagnosed and treated now, the parasites will continue their silent invasion of the body. The real danger of sleeping sickness begins when the disease enters its second stage. This happens when the parasites cross the blood-brain barrier and enter the central nervous system, which includes the brain and spinal cord. Once here, they cause much more serious damage. The name sleeping sickness comes from the symptoms of this late stage. A person's personality may change. They can become confused, irritable, or agitated for no clear reason. They will find it difficult to concentrate and may have poor coordination, making simple tasks like walking a challenge. The most defining symptom is the disruption of the sleep cycle. A person might feel exhausted during the day but find it impossible to sleep at night. As the second stage progresses, the neurological damage becomes more severe. The periods of sleepiness during the day become longer and deeper, and a person may fall asleep anywhere, even while eating or talking. This is not a restful sleep, but a sign that the brain is being seriously affected by the parasites. Without treatment, the condition worsens relentlessly. The body weakens, the mind deteriorates, and eventually the person will fall into a coma. Sadly, this final stage is always fatal. This is why early detection is so critical. The treatments for the first stage are simpler and safer, but the drugs needed to treat the late stage are more complex and can have serious side effects, as they must be powerful enough to cross into the brain. The same parasites cause a similar disease in cattle, called nagana. This has a huge impact on farming in Africa. Infected cattle become weak, lose weight, and are unable to produce milk or work on the farm. Eventually, they too will die. This means that in many areas where the tsetse fly is common, it is almost impossible for communities to raise healthy livestock. This affects their ability to grow food, earn a living, and maintain a stable food supply. The tsetse fly, therefore, attacks communities on two fronts: by threatening human health directly with sleeping sickness, and by undermining their agricultural foundation through nagana. The fight against the tsetse fly is a fight for both health and prosperity. The tsetse fly is not found everywhere in Africa. It lives in a specific region often called the Tsetse belt, which stretches across the middle of the continent, from the west coast to the east coast. This area covers parts of 36 different countries and is home to millions of people who live under the constant threat of sleeping sickness. The fly thrives in warm, humid conditions, which is why it is most common in savanna woodlands and the dense forests that grow along rivers and lakes. These are precisely the kinds of fertile areas that people would otherwise use for farming and raising animals. It is estimated that around 65 million people live in areas where they are at risk of being bitten by a tsetse fly and contracting the disease. The life of a tsetse fly is quite unusual compared to other insects. One of the most remarkable things about it is how it reproduces. Instead of laying hundreds of eggs like a housefly, the female tsetse fly gives birth to a single live larva at a time. She keeps the larva inside her body, feeding it with a milk-like substance until it is fully grown. When she is ready to give birth, she finds a patch of loose, shaded soil and deposits the large larva. The larva immediately burrows underground to protect itself from predators and the sun. It then transforms into a hard-cased pupa. After about a month, a new adult fly emerges from the soil, ready to fly, feed, and continue the cycle. This low birth rate means that tsetse fly populations grow slowly. Tsetse flies are also quite clever hunters. They are attracted to large, dark, moving objects, which is how they spot their animal or human targets from a distance. They can also detect the carbon dioxide that animals breathe out. Some species are more active during the hottest parts of the day, while others prefer to hunt in the morning or evening. They are persistent and will often follow a potential meal for some time before landing to bite. Interestingly, they seem to be particularly attracted to the color blue. This strange preference has been used by scientists and health workers to design special traps to catch and control them. These traps are often made of large sheets of blue cloth, which lure the flies in. For people living in or traveling through the Tsetse belt, there are simple but effective ways to protect themselves. Wearing clothing that covers the arms and legs is a good first step. It is best to choose clothes made of thick material, as the fly's proboscis can pierce through thin fabric. It is also wise to avoid wearing colors that attract the flies, such as dark blue or black. Neutral, earthy colors like khaki, green, or beige are a much safer choice. Using insect repellent can also help, though it may not be as effective against tsetse flies as it is against mosquitoes. Checking vehicles before getting inside is also important, as the flies can be attracted to moving cars and get trapped inside, waiting for a passenger. While the tsetse fly presents a serious challenge, the good news is that we are not helpless against it. Scientists, doctors, and communities across Africa are working together in a remarkable effort to control the fly and eliminate the diseases it carries. One of the most effective strategies involves using specially designed traps. These traps are simple, yet ingenious. They are often made of blue and black cloth panels, colors that the flies find irresistible. The traps are sometimes coated with a sticky substance or a safe insecticide. Lured by the color and shape, the flies land on the trap and are either caught or eliminated. Thousands of these traps have been placed in villages and across the landscape, dramatically reducing the number of flies in many areas. Another powerful tool in this fight is understanding the fly's own biology. Scientists have studied the Tsetse fly's life cycle and behavior in great detail, searching for weaknesses. One clever technique, known as the sterile insect technique, involves raising huge numbers of male Tsetse flies in a laboratory. These males are then sterilized using radiation, which does not harm them but makes them unable to father offspring. The sterile males are then released into the wild. They mate with wild female flies, but these matings produce no young. Over time, this causes the tsetse fly population to crash without using harmful chemicals in the environment. This method has been used successfully to clear the fly from entire regions. On the medical front, there have been incredible advances in diagnosing and treating sleeping sickness. In the past, diagnosis was difficult, and the treatments, especially for the late stage of the disease, were toxic and dangerous. Today, there are newer, simpler tests that can detect the parasites more quickly and accurately. Even more importantly, new medicines have been developed that are much safer and more effective. There is now even a single pill treatment that can cure the disease, making it much easier to help people in remote villages who do not have easy access to a hospital. Thanks to these efforts, the number of reported cases of sleeping sickness has fallen dramatically in the last 2 decades. The story of the tsetse fly is a powerful reminder of how even the smallest of creatures can have a huge impact on our world. It also shows us the incredible power of science, cooperation, and human determination. The goal of eliminating sleeping sickness as a public health problem is now within reach. While there is still much work to be done, the future looks brighter than ever. By continuing to support scientists, health workers, and the communities affected by this fly, we can work towards a day when the hum of the tsetse fly is no longer a sound of fear, but simply another part of the rich, natural chorus of the African continent. A day when people and their animals can live freely and healthily, without the shadow of the silent killer.